We're fighting for our dignity, for our citizenship, full citizenship rights now. So you're looking at this really contested terrain, and in the middle of this contested terrain, you have African Americans who refuse to go into their place, who refuse to just stand there and take it, and who refuse to just abide by the old ways because they're like, no, this is a new day.
This program is brought to you by Emory University.
There were many powerful moments during the Great Depression, but one of the most powerful, I believe, was the Missouri sharecropper strike of 1939. And to begin to understand what makes this so powerful is that one of the things that speaks to me, really speaks to me, is when the seemingly powerless, in fact, exert their incredible power, find their power to, in fact, create change. And with the Missouri sharecropper strike, what happened is, remember, this is the Great Depression. The overall unemployment rate is about 25%. But for the agricultural workers, it was just grinding. In fact, the Great Depression had hit the agricultural sector back in the 1920s, not even in the 1930s. And you had these sharecroppers. And sharecropping was just a step above slavery when you think about it. They didn't own anything except their labor. They didn't own the houses, the shacks that they lived in. They didn't own the mules. They didn't own the land. They worked on these big plantations. And what was happening during the Great Depression is you get these sharecroppers and they're out there and they're picking cotton, picking cotton, picking cotton. 75 cents a day, working, as they said, from caint to caint. From the moment when you can't see the sun to when you can't see the sun again. 75 cents a day. Well, the federal government, with the Agricultural Adjustment Act, realizes that the agricultural sector is in trouble. And part of the problem is they're producing too much product. And so it keeps driving down the price. And so the feds are like, okay, we're going to pay you not to grow. We're going to pay you not to grow this land. And the plantation owners are like, sweet, okay. And the feds were like, no, 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 not that sweet. We're going to give you a nice big check to not grow every third acre that you have. And they're like, sweet. But you're supposed to give a part of this check to the sharecroppers because they're going to be making less money because you're not growing a third. And they went, sure, you can trust us. And so the feds send these big checks in, and the plantation owners, the planters, start kicking the sharecroppers off the land. Now, one of those sharecroppers was a man named Reverend Owen Whitfield. And Reverend Whitfield, he had been working from caint to caint to caint, just to give you some sense of how oppressive this system was. He had been working from just at the end of the planting season when everything's harvested, you go to the planter to get your pay. And they deduct everything that they've paid you from here, for this is what your house costs, this is what your food costs. He's like, okay. He goes to get his check because he's got 12 kids. The plantation owner hands him an old, worn, moth-eaten suit as his pay for a whole season's worth of work. This steals this man, angers him. First, he's just, where he's crying. And then he gets mad. And then he begins to organize. And part of his organization is through the Southern Tenant Farmers Unit. And as he's organizing, and as these plantation owners are getting their parity checks and kicking the sharecroppers off the land, he's like, okay. So they start organizing via the union, and they start organizing in the churches, because he was Reverend Owen Whitfield. And as they're organizing in the churches, and remember, this is late 1938, they get kicked off the land. Over 1,000 sharecroppers in the Boot Hill of Missouri. So the plantation owners are holding on to all of the money. Greed is not good. What they expected was that these sharecroppers, these poor, starving people, would just dissipate, would just go hide their shame, hide their starvation, hide their hunger, hide their poverty. Instead, Owen Whitfield was like, oh no, we're going to let you see what greed did to us. We're going to let you see the pain. We're going to let you see our babies starving after we have worked all year long. And so in January 1939, the sharecroppers lined up along Highway 61 and Highway 60. Imagine this. And not only did they line up, African Americans and white sharecroppers lined up. This is 1939 in the Boot Hill. This is where lynchings have occurred. As they're lined up pitching their old tents and their hovels, and they're out there with their starving babies as the winds are howling down in the wintertime, and all of a sudden the news cameras are coming. And the planters are like, why are you embarrassing us like this? The state of Missouri, this is embarrassing. They're like, no, this is real. This is what your greed does. And they're like, well, you need to leave. You need to, no. Where are we going to go? I mean, it was resolve. It was instilled in them. That kind of, I shall not be moved. You've got to love it. And as they're going, I shall not be moved, and the intimidation is starting. They have guys riding by who are threatening to shoot them. Finally, the feds are looking at this going, oh, this is beyond whacked. This is so beyond unacceptable. And so the feds are like, okay, we'll find a place to put you. And before that, the Missouri's like, no, before the feds can get here, we'll handle this. And so what the Missouri did, the governor called in the health department to say, this would be a health problem. Yes, this is not a sanitary place to live. We cannot have these people here. And so then the state of Missouri came in with its trucks and its cars, piled up these families, and to try to stop the cameras from rolling, seeing this pain and agony in the howls of the winter, and move them basically to swampland. Because that was more healthy? But no, because it wasn't on the road where they could not be seen. Again, they refused to take it. They stayed organized, they stayed mobilized, and they began to put pressure, additional pressure on the government. And what you also see then happening is that you have faculty members and students from the historically black college and Lincoln University in Jefferson City mobilizing, giving up their prom money, their dance money, organizing and providing clothing, providing food, and then going to the federal government demanding better conditions. The feds try to come back with a new Agricultural Adjustment Act. All that did is it made the sharecroppers even more greedy, and they kicked more folks off the land. But the protests began to mount, and the federal government came in and created housing. And when you hear the sharecroppers talk about it, the families of these sharecroppers are going, this was the first time that we had housing that had electricity, that had plumbing. All of a sudden, we're like, this is hope. This is a new day. This is wonderful. And from that, they learned the power of hope. They learned that they could transform their own lives by staying organized and by fighting against oppression. And as one of the men said, it shows that common people can do really uncommon things.
Okay, anybody with anything to promote. I'm talking about your small businesses, whether it's online or brick and mortar. I'm talking about all my nonprofit organizations, all my churches who want to do a little more witnessing and getting more people in the pews. Anybody with anything to promote needs to call Dynasty Television, 314-361-2520. We've removed cost as a barrier for you to advertise. If that was your only excuse, call 314-361-2520. It's time for the Dynasty Dollar Deal. $1 down, 4 30-second commercials that get played in our television shows that air on Charter Channel 198, 500,000 subscribers. Where do they do that? Right here in St. Louis. Dynasty Television, it's the People's Media Production Company.
Giving honor and giving glory to Christ God, who is the Lord and Savior over my life. I go by integrity. I am broadcasting live to you straight from Dynasty Television to talk about my new single, Fake Facing Life. Basically, it talks about how us as humans put a mask on to hide who we truly are to please others. I encourage everybody to go check it out. It'll be on Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, April 15th. That's one day before Easter. From the bottom of my heart, I would appreciate the support. You gonna know that
Hi, my name is Cortega Collins, and I am the author of To All My Baby Mamas, Single Parenting Without Bitterness.
Hi, I'm Bishop Anthony L. Trice, and I'm here on this morning to endorse this powerful book, To All My Baby Mamas. This book is biblically sound, it's a powerful book, and it's a word in season from the Lord.
I encourage you to go out to Amazon.com and get this book. Your life will be changed, and you will be in a position to go on to bigger and better relationships.
You're stronger than you think.
In 1946, the race riot in Columbia, Tennessee was a phenomenon that begins to speak to the militancy of black veterans and the black community coming out of that Second World War. What happened is, and many of these things start off as something really simple. What happened was a woman named Gladys Stevenson, a black woman, wanted to get her radio repaired. She took it to a shop. The guy told her it was going to cost so much to get it fixed, and it would be done by such and such a date. She goes back to pick it up. He tells her it's going to cost more. She's like, I don't have that kind of money. He's like, yeah, it bees that way sometimes. And so they go back and forth, back and forth. Then he sells her radio, and then he tells her it's going to cost more for her to get it back from the guy that he just sold it to. Next time she comes in with her son, who's a Navy veteran, because when she gets the radio, it doesn't work. He's cut off the electric cord and the batteries don't work. And he's charged her double the price that he originally said it was going to cost. They get into a heated argument. In this heated argument, it looks like one of the assistants is getting ready to smack the woman. And this veteran, let me be real clear, this veteran used to box. This veteran was not going to let somebody smack his mother, and he steps in between. And the fact that you have a black man in Tennessee in 1946 basically stepping up saying, oh no, you are not going to lay your hands on my mother. Come on, Mom, let's go. And so she's walking out, the son is walking out. The man is so angry, he bam, and he hits the veteran in the back of the head. Now, veteran doesn't go down. Veteran turns around and it's like, oh, snap, bam, and the battle is on. He's pounding him, pounding him, pounding him. They go through a glass window. This is 1946. You get a black man hitting a white man, going through a glass window. As they go through the glass window of the radio shop, whites are around looking, going, what is this? What is this? And so a few more whites go in there to try to beat on the veteran because, my God, you've got a black man hitting a white man. This is absolutely criminal. Well, when the mother sees folks attacking her son, she's like, oh, that's my baby boy. That's my baby boy. She comes after him she picks up one of those shards of glass and she starts slashing.
Hello, my name is Christopher Simpson, CEO of the St. Louis Natural Hair and Black Culture Expo. Our goal is to provide a platform for small community-based businesses to market and sell their products and services. Consumers who are interested in healthy, fashionable, natural hair using the best natural hair products and services. Feel free to contact us at stlnaturalhairexpo.com or call us at 314-398-1585. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Miss Chris, and I am the CEO of the Cast Me Out. We are an online luxury lingerie boutique that specializes in relationship enhancement tools. We have seductive sizes of sassy small up to luscious 6X. You can reach us at www.thecastmeout.net, and if you're looking for private services, we do have a mobile service where we customize intimate settings for engaging couples in exploring sexy and fun ways to enhance their relationship. So please check us out. Our phone number is 314-477-5216. www.thecastmeout.net. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany A. Smith. As director of a family-owned and operated funeral home, we at Tiffany A. Smith Life Memorial Center stand by our commitment to deliver service with a higher standard of excellence. Our elegant facilities offer various amenities that include our spacious chapel, 3 beautiful visiting rooms, and 38,000 square feet of parking to accommodate the needs of the families residing in the St. Louis community. Here at Smith Life Memorial Center, we provide families with customized funeral service packages with prepayment plans starting as low as $17 a month. We also gift our families with a customized 5x7 foot blanket and a homemade pound cake. Contact us today, 314-521-9600, or visit us on the web at www.smithlifememorialcenter.com or visit our facilities at 2504 Woodson Road. At Smith Life Memorial Center, we are committed to creating a memorable service you and your loved ones will cherish.
Hey, it's Keno 100.
Hi, it's Lily LaShawn.
And I'm the Real Cookie, host of FemFM Radio. And I'd like to personally invite you to our official media launch party.
It will be Saturday, April 8th at the Rustic Goat at 2617 Washington Avenue.
Also tune in to mycitymymusic.com for FemFM Radio every Sunday from 7 to 9.
And the new website will be femfmradio.com.
Big names, come on out.
They both get pounded, they both get arrested. And the lynch mob is like, oh, we're going to have to do something here. You know, these folks have gotten a little too uppity. Who do they think they are? Talking back and hit. Did you see what they did to poor Bo over there? Oh, that unacceptable. Unacceptable. And you start getting this milling around of the crowd around the jail. Well, the black community sees the milling around, starts hearing the word, we're going to get a rope, we're going to get a rope, we're going to get a rope. And they start moving. They work to get the son and the mother out of Columbia, Tennessee. The lynch mob is coming. Black folks start organizing. Because one of the things, we think of like Martin Luther King and nonviolence, but one of the things is that there has been a tradition in the black community of self-defense. And so what they do is they get their shotguns, because remember, this is the South, everybody's got a gun. They get their shotguns, they get their rifles, they get their pistols, and they start taking up purchase on top of the buildings in the black community, the area known as the Bottoms or Mink Slide. And so as whites start pouring in, and there was one guy, he was just going to burn down the black businesses. So remind you of Tulsa, going to burn down the black businesses. And he comes in there with his buddies and a can of gasoline, and he starts trying to zigzag and pour the gasoline. And all of a sudden, the black guys on top of the roof start shooting. Bam! Bam! It's like, did black folks just shoot at white folks? Did we just get shot? Wait a minute. I'm wounded. I just got shot. What? So the wounded whites get pulled out, and it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to? And the crowd is coming. The crowd is coming. Now the sheriff is first in there going, okay, boys, now you just need to settle down. We'll handle this. And the crowd is like, no, no, no. Call in the Tennessee National Guard, the Tennessee State Guard. As they're coming in, as more whites of the mob are coming in, black folks are defending their property because there had been lynchings in that county before. They knew what this looked like. And this is 1946. You had veterans up on those roofs. They had taken down the Nazis. They weren't having it. For them, this was a new day. And even though they had been systematically cut out of the GI Bill, and part of that, let me describe that piece, being cut out of the GI Bill. It was passed in 1944, and it opened up a range of opportunities to veterans. It opened up housing opportunities, so through the VA loans. It opened up education, so a full ride through college for veterans. But the way that the law was written was that although it's a federal law and it's written race neutral, in the language is that it will be administered by the states. And so when you're looking at these Jim Crow states that cannot fathom that a black man should have access to education, what you're getting are these veterans who are watching these opportunities pass them by. And the thing that they're going to do at the bare minimum is to protect their homestead, to protect their community, and to protect one of theirs. And so as whites are coming in, these veterans are shooting back. So when the sun comes up, the state troopers move in. And I mean, they moved in with machine guns. Moved in and started rounding up, they call it, you were brave last night. Are you brave this morning? Because we're getting ready to take you down. At the very end, you get beatings, shootings. About 25 African Americans are arrested for attempted murder. Now, I see self-defense. What Tennessee saw was attempted murder for shooting at the guys who were trying to burn down the black neighborhood, for shooting at the mob that is trying to go in and destroy the black neighborhood. Well, these Tennessee stormtroopers basically did that as they went rummaging through the black business section, looking for the guns, looking for the rifles. Well, they weren't finding too much. And none of the ballistics were matching up. But in the trial that happened, I mean, the trial itself becomes fascinating because as the lynch mob is forming and as it's very clear that the bullets are flying, somebody calls into Nashville and says, alert the NAACP, we're in trouble down here. The NAACP then sends its attorneys to help these 25 black men who have now been arrested for attempted murder, charged, indicted for attempted murder. The defense was absolutely brilliant. I mean, brilliant. Z. Alexander Luby, who was the black attorney out of Nashville, one of the first things he did was to begin to challenge the jury. You know, what they call that voir dire process, where it's like, do you have any biases against black folks? Do you really think that you can be fair and impartial? No. Next. Do you really? Next. Are you a member of the Klan? Well, yeah, next. I mean, and so to find them, you can't make this stuff up. So by the time they were able to get 12 jurors who could be impartial, and then because the state's case was so weak, they didn't have the evidence. And Z. Alexander Luby is arguing, this is self-defense. This is one of the basic rights that we know of as Americans. We honor this, we cherish this. In the first round, 23 of the 25 men were found not guilty. Yeah. Now you had the other two. Thurgood Marshall, from the head office of the NAACP, comes down to take part in this case for the final two. They again laid out a brilliant, beautiful strategy. It so infuriated the law enforcement folks in Columbia, Tennessee. That what they did was, after the end of the trial, Z. Alexander Luby, Thurgood Marshall, who would become the first black Supreme Court Justice of the United States, and 2 other men are in a car, and they're leaving Columbia. And they're like, whew, man, that was, almost like, yeah, that was bad. Yeah, okay, this is good. Cops pull them over. Well, they think it was the cops because they were in plain clothes. And the cars were unmarked. But when you get that kind of, they're close behind you, so they pulled over. First thing they did was they're looking in the car for open containers, convinced that somebody's been drinking. They went and bought some Coca-Cola at the local store, but they weren't drinking hard liquor. There's no booze in the car. So cops were like, get in the car. Oh man, didn't find any moonshine, didn't find any wine, didn't find any whiskey. They drive a little bit further. Cops pull them over again. Let's see your license. They ask Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall hands over his license. Man, it's not expired. There's nothing wrong with this license. There's nothing we can get him on. He gets his license back, drives a little bit further. Then cops pull him over a 3rd time. In this 3rd time, they're like, you're driving drunk. He's like, I've had some water and I've had some Coca-Cola. Yeah, you look drunk to me. Get out of the car. They pull Thurgood Marshall out of the car, throw him into their car. Now, there's a white guy in the car named Harry Raymond. And he looks up and he's like, wait a minute. They're not going back to the city to arraign him or to arrest him or anything like that. They're driving off into the woods. So he hops over and he starts following the cars that have Thurgood Marshall in them. They look up, they turn right, he turns right. They turn left, he turns left. They slow down, he slows down. They speed up, he speeds up. And he's thinking, they're going to lynch him. They're taking him off into the woods to lynch him. They're going to lynch Thurgood Marshall. My God, they can lynch Thurgood Marshall. Finally, they turn this way, he turns this way. They stop the car. He stops the car. He gets up, they're like, what are you doing? Cops are, what are you doing? And he's like, I know what you're planning, and I'm not going to let you do it. They said, what? What? He said, I know what you're planning. And you begin to think about this. You really have no backup. I mean, you are out here in the woods in Tennessee. You are dealing with men who are strapped. They have guns. You don't. This is nothing but the sheer, raw courage of principle and doing what is right. I'm not going to let you do it. They're like, fine. Here. When they tried to then get Thurgood arraigned for, so they don't actually turn him over, they turn back around and go to the city. And then they try to arrest him for drunk driving. Judge looks at him and said, this man's not drunk. Come on, y'all. Dismissed, let him go. But in that one moment, you in fact see so much about the role of law enforcement in the South that doesn't enforce the law. Another strain of law enforcement is like, come on, y'all. There's some element of the Constitution we have to uphold. So you're looking at this really contested terrain, and in the middle of this contested terrain, you have African Americans who refuse to go into their place, who refuse to just stand there and take it, and who refuse to just abide by the old ways because they're like, no, this is a new day. And it's that new day that I think really is emblematic of the race riot in Columbia, Tennessee.